Another solid episode of Dynamite. The card for Forbidden Door is pretty much set. We got a bunch of shit to talk about. And I also want to talk about a guy by the name of L.A. Knight. So let's start the show, shall we? Good evening, everyone. Greetings and salutations. Episode, what are we at now? Episode 69.
Come get on the
Let's be mature about it.
train.
Oh man. Yeah, 69. Here we go. Still going strong. Smells like Wrasslin with your post-Dynamite review. A lot of stuff to talk about. Some stuff to mention about Raw. First things first, I want to put something out there. At the end of Dynamite tonight, I was just like, so much great shit is coming our way in terms of like being an AEW fan and a wrestling fan. The card for Money in the Bank looks awesome. The card for Forbidden Door looks awesome. We're getting spoiled, people. You know what I mean? Like, we're getting spoiled. I am very happy with what's going on in wrestling right now. I think Collision was a great idea for AEW. I think it expands the roster. WWE, as long as Vince is still around, there's still some bullshit that we're gonna have to deal with. I wonder if I could put. There's still gonna be like some bullshit that we're gonna have to deal with in terms of Vince and his booking, but yeah, I'm excited for the future pro wrestling. And you know what? When I get the most excited, when I forget the most about, like, I get whatever goes on backstage. You know what I mean? If it's just the show in general, it's awesome. Now, sometimes the backstage stuff adds a little bit of salt or a little bit of seasoning to what you're seeing on television. But damn man, it's what an exciting time! What an exciting time to be a wrestling fan. We're getting Bryan Danielson versus Kazuchika Okada. You know, we're getting oh, and here's the other thing I wanted to mention. My boy LA Knight. That guy's over as fuck, bro. You got to give him, I mean, you got to give him the briefcase, right? Now, in my opinion, what might end up happening is what always ends up happening when the WWE knows they got a good thing. Once they know they have a good thing, they're going to put it right up to your nose and right, they're going to dangle it right in front of you and they're going to say, you know, you're going to get it. And then they take it and then they draw it out. And they do all the same shticks. That's my worry about what's going to happen to LA Knight. Like, I think they got to be pretty tone deaf not to know that the people want LA Knight to win. I mean, they want LA Knight to win. Now, Logan Paul is involved, so it might go to him. You know, who really knows? But, like, I think LA Knight's the guy. I think he's the guy who should definitely end up having the world title. I think once Cody wins the belt, it's going to be Rollins that's going to be one of the guys that's going after him. So he can't do that with the world heavyweight title. So he's going to free that up. But yeah, so I don't know what's going to happen. I hope it's LA Knight. I really fucking hope so. And we'll see what happens. But like, they got something going with him. You know, I saw a video online of the crowd reaction 5 months ago to LA Knight compared to the crowd reaction to him right now, and it is night and day. So I can't wait, man. We're gonna have a great couple of weeks of wrestling. We got Forbidden Door this weekend. We have Money in the Bank next weekend. Royal is going off. LA Gauntlet match. LA in the Cell. Elimination Chamber. That's too good. Oh man, Elimination Chamber. That's fantastic. That really is. If they don't make shirts, I mean, Royal, you got to make a shirt like that, bro. I mean, the second he's in an Elimination Chamber match, you have to put that in there. You have to put that in there. So we're getting the Forbidden. What do you call it? We're getting the Seth is fighting Finn. Finn's been harassing Seth for the last several weeks. And he beat the crap out of him on Monday Night Raw. I think he attacked him on NXT during his match with Braun Breaker. So, you know, that's going to be a match. It's going to be an amazing match. Finn Balor's an incredible wrestler. The former Prince Devitt. Seth Rollins, Tyler Black. I mean, these guys are indie gods. So it's definitely going to be a great match. I'm pretty excited about that. What else is happening on that match? Let's see. Elimination Chamber card. 2023. Let's see. What was this? This was done. This is Elimination Chamber. What the hell? Did I put Elimination Chamber? Come on, dude. Money in the Bank 2023 card. There we go. All right, let's see. So the card for Money in the Bank is as follows. We got Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor for the World Heavyweight Championship. The Usos versus Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa in the official Bloodline Civil War match. Ricochet, LA Knight, Shinsuke Nakamura, Santos Escobar, Butch, Damian Priest, and Logan Paul in the Money in the Bank match. Becky Lynch, Zoe Stark, Zelina Vega, Bayley, Io Sky, and Trish Stratus in the Women's Money in the Bank match. Cody Rhodes versus Dominic Mysterio. So that's what we have it as of right now. And yeah. And I think it's going to be a great card. Anywho, so let's get to the Dynamite storyline right now. Stacked card, Orange Cassidy and Katsuyori Shibata versus Daniel Garcia and Zack Sabre Jr., Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Minoru Suzuki versus Action Andretti, Darius Martin, and AR Fox. The Hardys versus the Guns. Eddie Kingston's going to speak. Bryan Danielson calls out Okada. Adam Cole has a speaking segment. Jeff Jarrett and Mark Briscoe in the concession stand brawl. And Chris Statlander defends the TBS title against Taya Valkyrie. So stacked card tonight. This is the official Dynamite Go Home show for Forbidden Door. So here we go. The first match of the night was the Guns, consisting of Austin and Colton Gunn defeating the Hardys, Matt and Jeff. Definitely a fun match, with the Hardys coming away with the victory. Oh no, actually no, I'm sorry. Bullet Club Gold interfered. I'm sorry. Bullet Club Gold interferes, and that allows the Guns to hit the 310 to Yuma, and they end up coming away with the victory. Obviously, this was all supposed to set up Punk coming out, because after the match, Jay White hit Matt with a Blade Runner. Robinson knocked out Jeff Hardy with the left hand of God. Matt was about to get hit with the left hand of God as well when Ricky Starks came out. He was outnumbered, obviously, because there was a numbers advantage. So FTR comes out. The crowd pops big. The numbers were, again, not in their favor. CM Punk comes out to even the odds. Juice Robinson hits a GTS. He said he took the microphone. He challenges them for an 8-man tag on Collision on Saturday, saying he's not even supposed to be here on Dynamite. So, that's what happened there. Punk obviously saying that he's not supposed to be here. He's a Collision guy. Kind of adds more cadence to the whole, there's going to be a roster split. I really don't think it's going to be a full roster split. I think Punk's going to be on one show and the Elite are going to be on the other. And whenever one's on one show, one won't be on the other show. And that's going to be it. They're going to keep these guys apart until they decide they want to make some money with it. That's as far as I know. But hey, man, as long as they're giving us good storylines and good wrestling, like, who gives a shit? You know what I mean? There's so many storylines that you could do in AEW that don't have to do with Punk intersecting with the Elite. I got no problems. And if you look at the card for the Owen Hart tournament, there's proof in that already. So Mark Briscoe and Jeff Jarrett, the concession stand brawl, it was kind of cool, Everyone all fought and they threw hot dogs at each other and squirted mustard in each other's eyes, and Jay Lethal got involved, and Satnam Singh got involved, and Sanjay Dutt got involved, and Karen Jarrett got involved, and I even think Aubrey got involved at a certain point. It was a fine match. Most of it was on the commercial break. No big deal, but you want to see a fun, silly match and see Mark Briscoe, who, obviously is loved and adored by the AEW fans and ROH fans. He got the victory. More power to him. Great match. Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Minoru Suzuki defeat Action Andretti, Darius Martin, and AR Fox. Not gonna lie, in the beginning of the match, I was like, I was kind of going a little bit slow. A lot of it was on the commercial break. I kind of wasn't getting into it. But the second the commercial break ended, this match picked up and it kept on going, and it was awesome. They did a lot of things that harkened back to Action Andretti fighting Jericho. A lot of people got all their big moves. It was an awesome 6-man match. With the Sex Gods and Minoru Suzuki coming away with the victory. They even got to do the whole, Kaze ni Nare chant for Suzuki before the match, which is always great to see that on television. After the match, Renee Paquette comes in. She's talking to the winning team. She asks Jericho about, his confrontation with Sting last week. Jericho takes the mic from her hands, basically shoos her off. He says it was a monumental moment in wrestling. He said everyone was excited except for Jericho, who called Sting a whore for showing up wherever the highest bidder is. Jericho issues a challenge to Sting and Darby Allin and a partner to face, he's calling them the Suzuki Gods, which is Chris Jericho, Minoru Suzuki, and Sammy Guevara. Sting comes into a huge ovation. He's followed to the ring by Darby Allin. Darby Allin and Sting enter the ring. Sting puts his arm around Jericho, accepts the challenge. Darby Allin says he's made a lot of that Jericho's made a lot of enemies in a lot of places, and Jericho's gonna find out who their partner is at Collision on Saturday. So, my assumption is it'll maybe be, Shingo Takagi again, and they'll reform. What the hell do they call themselves? Dudes with attitudes, from the last Forbidden Door. So that's what I think. I think that'd be a great match. Let's see. Tony Schiavone on RJ City. They are backstage with one of those like lotto things. I guess like a tumbler or whatever. That is to determine the pairings for the blind eliminator tournament next week. So I thought it was just going to be existing tag teams and we're not going to know who's facing who. But apparently it's going to be tag teams picked together by random names. So they never told us who was on the paperwork. You obviously find that. We'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show. And they're going to find out the brackets next week. So the Elite are backstage. They're talking about the Blackpool Combat Club. Hangman said the numbers don't look to be in their favor, but they have friends all over the place. Omega said that they a lot of people hate Don Callis and Takeshita. So their teammate is Eddie Kingston. So Eddie Kingston comes in, he's like, listen, I don't like you guys, but he hates Claudio more, so he's gonna team with the Elite. But he gets to name the their final partner, which they end up naming later that night. So the Elite are okay with Kingston joining in. It's more like the enemy of my enemy is my friend. They're gonna just use his hatred towards Claudio to get the victory. Adam Cole and MGF have a face-off. Adam Cole, obviously a huge pop. They talk about their match last week, which is the 30-minute time limit draw. He said he didn't win. MGF didn't win either. He said it was smart for MJF not to accept 5 more minutes after the draw. He calls out MJF. MJF shows up. He tells all the mouth breathers to keep their mouths shut. MJF said that Cole should be thanking him for bringing out the best of him last week. He said MJF said they had Cole beat last week. So even though Cole wants a rematch for the sake of Adam Cole's health and well-being, he's going to say no. Cole says, how about we just fight tonight? Schiavone actually stands up from the commentary table. He said he had an announcement. Both Adam Cole and JF simultaneously told Schiavone to shut the hell up, which I thought was hysterical because both in storyline, MJF and Adam Cole hate Tony Schiavone, and Tony Schiavone hates both Adam Cole and MJF. So he talked about the Blind Eliminator tournament, and he said that they had drew names earlier in the evening, and that the names were Adam Cole and MJF being a tag team. Adam Cole was pissed off. He doesn't want to team with MJF. MJF was pissed off that he was going to have to wrestle every week, which I thought was hysterical. Tanahashi shows up on the big screen, talks about the challenge that he laid out to MJF, which MJF declined, and said, show us, what a real champion is like, blah, blah, blah. So Cole kind of eggs him on, saying well, if you're not afraid of Tanahashi, then you would obviously have no problem accepting the challenge. I mean, you're not a coward. I mean, if you don't accept the challenge from him, you're basically a coward. So we got the crowd to chant coward, and they kind of did the old school here, the reverse psychology. I got nothing, he's nothing for me, blah, blah, blah. So MJF ends up accepting the challenge like an idiot. You could tell afterwards he was kind of like, I got played. Adam Cole was super happy about it. So, yes, they're still tagging in the Blind Eliminator tournament. And, yes, MJF is facing Tanahashi this weekend at Forbidden Door. What else is there? They announced the brackets for the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. There's going to be, Ricky Starks versus Juice Robinson. This is the first round. Ricky Starks versus Juice Robinson. Dustin Rhodes versus Powerhouse Hobbs. Roderick Strong versus Samoa Joe. Dream match. Absolute fucking dream match. And then they just casually announced without any sort of fanfare notification, CM Punk faces Satoshi Kojima. There we go. So that match is going to happen at Forbidden Door. So Punk versus Kojima at Forbidden Door. Tanahashi versus MJF at Forbidden Door. Suzuki, Sammy Guevara, Jericho versus Sting, Darby Allin, and a partner of their choosing at Forbidden Door. It's stacked card. Stacked card. New Japan Television Champion Zack Sabre Jr. and Daniel Garcia defeat AEW International Champion Orange Cassidy and ROH Pure Champion Katsuyori Shibata. That was pretty cool. I'm assuming it's going to lead to Garcia versus Shibata for the Pure title at the next Ring of Honor pay-per-view. And this also sets up a match between Orange Cassidy, Zack Sabre Jr., Daniel Garcia, and Shibata for the international title in a 4-way. That's going to be an incredible match. This was an awesome tag match. It's great to see Zack Sabre Jr. on television. He's freaking awesome when he calls the crowd dickheads. It's completely hysterical. But yeah, let's see. We have, they were going all over the place between, Shibata hitting, all of his moves and, Cassidy hitting Slumdog Millionaire, but it ends up ending with, Orange Cassidy hitting Shibata with the orange punch, which causes Shibata to end up getting pinned. So this sets up the, this 4-way descent. Obviously, Shibata and Orange Cassidy are no longer on the same page, which puts everyone at even footing for that match coming Sunday. Chris Statlander defeats Taya Valkyrie to retain the TBS title. This was actually a pretty solid match between the two. Taya Valkyrie's awesome. It's power versus power. Chris Statlander has a great power game. So, fantastic match for the two. Another championship defense by Statlander as she continues her TBS title reign. Eddie Kingston shows up in the ring. This is I believe this is the final segment of the night. Eddie Kingston shows up in the ring. He thanks the crowd for their ovation. He was wearing a tank top and he was trying to put on the t-shirt as he was getting into the ring. He said that he had surgery and he just had a lot of ice cream, so he has to put on a shirt. He says that that there are a lot of things going on that he doesn't agree with. Including someone who he thought was, his good friend. But despite not liking the Bucks, he hates Claudio more. Moxley comes out from the crowd. He confronts Eddie Kingston. Moxley says Kingston is drawing a line at the Forbidden Door. Obviously, Moxley is going to side with Blackpool Combat Club over his friendship with Kingston. Kingston says the line was already drew the second he started teaming up with Claudio. So, this was also going on since Blood and Guts, that he wasn't happy about Claudio being around. So, both Kingston and Moxley basically kind of end up going to a standoff. Kingston ends up saying that the fifth man for their team is Tomohiro Ishii. So it's going to be the Elite, Kingston and Ishii versus the Blackpool Combat Club and Shota Umino at Forbidden Door, which is going to be an incredible match. So they could be on the same pay-per-view, but I guess they don't want to travel the road together. It is what it is. AEW Rampage, so far the match that we have right now is United Empire, which is Will Ospreay, Kyle Fletcher, Jeff Cobb, and Swerve Strickland. They take on Chaos, which is going to consist of Rocky Romero, Chuck Taylor, Trent Beretta, and Yo. The AEW World Champion MJF makes his first ever appearance on Rampage. I might actually watch Rampage just to see what he has to say. The Acclaimed and Daddy Ass are going to be in action. Adam Cole is going to say something on Rampage. Jungle Boy Jack Perry battles Doki, and who is a part of the same group that Sonata's in. Obviously setting up that match, Jungle Boy versus Sonata for the IWGP title. And Anna Jay versus Sky Blue in the first round of the Owen Hart Terminator match. So I'm curious whether or not they're going to continue to give Sky Blue the push, or if Anna Jay, being the already established veteran, moves on and they're going to hold off on that Sky Blue push for a while. Collision card is as follows. CM Punk, FTR, and Ricky Starks versus Switchblade, Jay White, Juice Robinson, and the Guns. Hiroshi Tanahashi is going to fight Swerve Strickland. Christian Cage is going to talk about the TNT title. We end up finding out who Sting and Darby Allin's partner is for Forbidden Door. Brody King battles Andrade El Idolo, which should be a fantastic match. Obviously, this continues Andrade fighting members of the House of Black, which I assume is going to end up leading to a trios match between Andrade and two partners versus House of Black for the trios belts. I'm assuming maybe even at All Out in Wembley. And Willow Nightingale versus Nyla Rose in an Owen Hart Terminator match. Willow Nightingale, the current New Japan Strong Women's Champion. AEW Forbidden Door card is as follows. Bryan Danielson versus Kazuchika Okada in a dream match. That's going to be the main event. Kenny Omega defends the IWGP United States title against Will Ospreay. MJF versus Hiroshi Tanahashi for the AEW World title. Sonata versus Jungle Boy Jack Perry for the IWGP title. CM Punk versus Satoshi Kojima in an Owen Hart tournament match. That's the first round of that tournament. Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta, Konosuke Takeshita versus, and Shota Umino versus Hangman Adam Page, Matt and Nick Jackson of the Young Bucks, Eddie Kingston, and Tomohiro Ishii. Sting, Darby Allin, and a partner to be announced at Collision will face Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Minoru Suzuki. Orange Cassidy, Zack Sabre Jr., Katsuyori Shibata, and Daniel Garcia in a fatal four-way for the AEW International title. And the opening match of the show at the 0 hour pre-show, Athena versus Billy Starks in an Owen Hart match. RJ Philly in the chat has a question for the group. Who would be Andrade's partners? That's a good question because his original partners, I believe, were Rush and somebody else. And Dragon Lee, I think. But Dragon Lee is now with NXT. So it's possible it could be Rush and maybe Bandito. But I think Bandito's been teaming with the Lucha Brothers for some time. So I'm not sure. I am not sure. But I would say Bandito and Rush would be two good partners if they're going to keep a Lucha faction together. That's definitely going to happen. Let's see. Oh, man. We might actually have Allie showing up on the show. Holy crap. So let's see. But yeah, that's who I think, That's who I think might be Andrade's partners. I think Rush and Bandito. That's a strong possibility right now. Oh, Rush and Preston, that's right. Because they're all part of what was it? Los Facción de Ingobernables. Who else is part of that group, Royal? Preston, Rush, but who else? But technically, Rush and Preston have been a heel team. If they go with Andrade, does that turn them face or does that turn Andrade heel? That's what I want to know. I'm very curious. Very curious about that. Hold on a second. Oh, Dralistico. All right. That makes sense. Okay. All right. So, yeah, I mean, it's possible. But, like, I feel like unless, yeah, you'd be turning them face because House of Black is a heel faction, you know? And Andrade got a pretty big face reaction. I think he wrestled as a face on Collision while, they had Buddy Matthews wrestle as a heel. So, it's possible. It's possible. Yeah, because I don't see him finally tagging with the Lucha Brothers. Like, I just don't think that's happening. In storyline, he was trying to hire them from Pac. Where the hell has Pac been? Does anybody know? Pac has just been gone for months and months and months. And he's fantastic. And now that Collision's around, there's a lot more time and space for people to wrestle. Where the fuck is Pac? That's what I would like to know. But yeah, so that's the show as it stands. What's going on SmackDown this week? I'm not really too sure. But I mean, the thing that I'm dealing with WWE with both Raw and SmackDown is kind of the same thing I'm dealing with in AEW. I just feel like sometimes I get the feuds that I want in the WWE, but I just don't always get the finishes that I want. I feel like that's why I gravitate a little bit more towards AEW, because they book a little bit more how I would book it in terms of like who wins and who loses. So, it's just I just get a little bit different from both, but like I'm digging it, you know. I still can't watch like a full 3 hours of Raw. Oh, the stuff that's going on with Chad Gable, and Otis and Maxine, right now that's going on with the Alpha Academy is fucking great. The fact that they had her do that suplex on Valkyrie, was fantastic. I definitely think it's going to lead to a trios feud between them and the War Raiders, which gets Valkyrie involved, fighting Maxine Dupree. I do think that they definitely need to. I mean, I'm hoping Maxine gets better and that the whole thing is she ends up becoming a fantastic wrestler due to Alpha Academy. So it'd be great to see her do great stuff in the ring. We already know that Valkyrie is a pretty great wrestler as well. So I think there's a lot of potential in that. I totally turned the corner on Alpha Academy because I remember I used to mock the shit out of them. I used to hate it. I loved Chad Gable. I loved him in American Alpha. I was so sad when they couldn't really do anything more with them. Like, I feel like they didn't get as much of a run as they should have. Jason Jordan ends up getting injured. They turned Chad Gable into Shorty G. Then Jason Jordan basically had to retire, so it was just Chad Gable left. They ended up breaking up Heavy Machinery, putting Otis with Chad Gable. They started doing the whole shoosh thing and everything, but I'm telling you, it's fucking over. I mean, that crowd popped when Maxine hit that suplex. And I definitely feel like they laid the seeds out for them having a great underdog victory. But this is the thing with WWE, like, I feel like there's less of a chance of that happening. But in AEW, they would have noticed that the crowd popped for Maxine, and they would have pushed that storyline. And even though it didn't have anything to do with the title, it was endearing, and it was an endearing enough storyline for someone to just, for someone to get into, even though it didn't have anything to do with titles. Like, this is the thing. Like, if you're going to book other matches outside of title matches, you really got to do it in a way that gets the crowd emotionally invested. Whether you're emotionally invested in an underdog or emotionally investing in a hero beating a villain, or you're emotionally invested in seeing just who's the better wrestler. It's all about the emotion that gets brought into it. You know what I mean? And I just feel like sometimes the WWE, they refuse to capitalize on emotion when it's there. And sometimes they don't. But I mean, you could honestly say the same thing about AEW. There are people in that company that I am still waiting for them to get pushes, and they haven't gotten pushes yet. So I don't know. I just got to say that, like, everything right now in wrestling has been phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. It's a great time to be a fan. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So if there's anyone in the chat that has any questions before I sign off, because we ended, it's a little bit of an early ending. I was able to get through today's show pretty quickly. So if anyone's got any questions in the chat, ask them right now, and I'd be more than happy to answer them. And I'll we'll put the ending music on in the background. A little bit. Load this just a tad. But yeah. So open mic night in the chat. Anyone have any questions? More than willing to answer. And let's scroll through here and see what's going on. I still think that Elimination Chamber match was the funniest line I've heard in some time. That was actually pretty funny. Who's winning the Osprey Omega match? Royals asking in the chat. Not gonna lie, I think Omega's winning. And I think they're going to run it back for a third time in the trilogy for the title at Wembley at All Out. Because if that's not a match to do it, I mean, like, that's a match you have to do it all out. All in. You have to do that all in at Wembley. You have to. You have to. So I think Omega coming away with the victory in front of his hometown crowd. Ospreay challenges him to a third match, maybe adds a stipulation, career for title, something like that. Process in the chat asks, watch that WWE pisses us off and gives the briefcase to Logan Paul. Oh, come on. Yeah, man, it's possible. I thought it was funny how everyone had to qualify for the Money in the Bank match where Logan Paul's like, and I'm in. Like, motherfucker, you just showed up and got in a Universal title match against Roman. Like, why the fuck do you need to be in the Money in the Bank? You guys all know what's going to happen, right? The only reason that they're doing this is to set up another thing. Watch, it's going to be Logan Paul and Ricochet doing something off the ladders colliding into each other. Maybe instead of springboarding off the ropes, they're going to springboard off the ropes onto the ladders and then off the ladders onto each other. I could definitely see it. Vince is salivating over that one spot. And I don't want to hear shit about spot fest in AEW when this Money in the Bank match is being booked to be a spot fest. Well, actually, that's pretty much what every ladder is. Every ladder match is pretty much a spot fest. You ain't gonna see any technical wrestling be predominantly showcased in the ladder match. But it's got to go to LA Knight, Process. It's got to go to LA Knight. He's got the crowd reaction. The crowd only they knew he wasn't wrestling. The crowd reacted to that just because they were able to hear him speak. So you know what you do? You like, if you don't highlight that dude at least once a night on Raw, like, you're missing out. I'm sorry. I am sorry. But LA Knight is the guy to win that Money in the Bank. Yeah, and Royal's right. The whole Royal Rumble is 100% a spot fest. Philly in the chat asks, when do we see Punk versus the Elite? Dude, I don't know, man. Honestly, don't know. There's so much that we don't know about that situation. You know? I'm going to load this a little bit more. There's so much we don't know about that situation, about what happened behind the scenes. We really don't know. I mean, listen, the Bucks are people, like, here's what I know about the Bucks. They know how to make money. These guys have been making a living without any television time, solely on merchandise and internet and the matches that they've had in ROH and New Japan. So this is the Bucks on just a grander stage, and they're still making more money. They're still making more money. So I just don't, either they're at a point where they're like, we're making so much money we could pick and choose who we want to work with, or they're making money right now and they're slowly building this. And one day, on an episode of Dynamite or Collision, all of a sudden, the Elite come out when Punk's out, or Punk comes out when the Elite's out. It's a very strong possibility that happens. They're still in the same company. You know what I mean? They're going to be in the same building at Forbidden Door. Obviously, there's going to be plenty of backstage talk about what's going on backstage at Forbidden Door. Did Punk and the Elite talk with one another? Were they in the same hallway? Did they see one another? Listen, I'll tell you this right now. Wrestling journalism has become nothing more than a gossip column. You notice how people rarely talk about, like, the wrestling journalists are supposed to be like just reporting on the in-ring action and the storylines. You know what I mean? But everyone's got a taste for the real. You know, reality TV popping off. So I get it. You know, I get it. These guys are trying to make money, but don't disguise yourself as journalists. You know what I mean? Don't. You guys are sensationalists. You guys will report any little thing. I actually think Royal told me earlier today that Fightful reported that Punk was going to be on commentary for Collision. Really? Get the fuck out of here, man. I honestly think these guys just love stirring the pot. There is an entire industry made from making money off of what these guys talk about backstage, and they talk shit to one another. I don't understand a wrestler's inclination to talk to the press when they're upset, when they could just talk to their boss. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand why making the company look bad is supposed to be a benefit. How does making the company look bad and the company that your coworkers work for and rely on to make money look bad? You know what I mean? So I don't know. I just, I'm not sure. Oh, you didn't pay $5? Yeah, the whole paywall. I heard the Observer went behind a paywall. Good riddance, man. Goodbye. Go behind the paywall. The only people. Then it just means that the only people who actually want to hear that like nonsense are the people who pay for it. That's pretty much it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We're gonna wind down the show. We didn't get an appearance by Allie tonight, guys. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. I had the song ready and no showed, man. I don't know, but we're gonna keep that in the pocket. And when she does show up, we're gonna be really over dramatic about it, definitely. So that ends it for tonight, people. I will see you guys Saturday for the post-Dynamite show. And then next Wednesday for the... for the post-Collision show. Then I will see you next Wednesday for the post-Dynamite show. And we will have reactions from what happened at Forbidden Door and what happened on Raw. Collision, where I'm going to try and talk about what happens on SmackDown. So we're going to combine the shows. Wednesdays are going to be Raw and Dynamite, and Saturdays are going to be Collision, SmackDown, and Rampage. So, oh wait, I'm not just when I was about, is this it? Is this an 11th hour? Are you here, Allie? I'm curious. Is this like a last minute thing? Is this actually gonna fucking happen? Yes? No? I had a, I know this is on delay. Oh shit! She made it! She made it in the chat! Yes! She did it! I am so happy. That's the end of the show! We're gonna end it on that! Have a good night, everybody! We're gonna play one more time!